Let's go. Mystery guest seat. I hate it that you're so far away from me, though.
Oh, it's cool. It's good to have some space.
Yeah, right? Oh, you gotta get space for me now.
No, it's good to have space.
Have you ever heard this? Have you ever
Everyone
had...
needs space. Come on.
So when a female tells you that she needs...
I'm not telling you anything. This is not even enough space.
But what does that mean when a female tells you you need space? What is that supposed to mean? Like, I need space. Does that mean she doesn't like
Meaning
you?
that, no, like, when you do your thing and you're listening to your music, you want your space. When I work out, I want my space, You're in your own little world. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs some time alone.
So do I give you enough space?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I still want to lock in. You ready to go?
Sure. I was trying to find our video, but it didn't pop in.
Let's get down. All right, hello and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Thursday, January the 20th, 2022, and we are going to be recapping round 2 of the Australian Open. We do as well have a special guest today. We will introduce the special guest here shortly. Okay, Carlos logged in for comments, so keep the comments coming, and again, we always try to grab comments and read your comments and try to answer those questions. We are going to recap round 2 as well. We are going to do a fantasy team update and as well let you guys know how many people are left fighting for the $500 in cash or 2 tennis rackets of your choice or 2 reels, not sets, 2 reels of Y-Tech strings, which if you're a stringer, that adds up to more than $500 of profit if you're a stringer. All right. A couple shout outs to start the show. Number 1, a mutual shout out to 2 people, Gene Swart and Thomas Chi. Again, Gene Swart is in South Africa, Thomas Chi is in Canada, and they have been doing an exceptional job running the fantasy team on their own this year. Thanks so much. They have done an exceptional job. And don't forget, you two, I will take care of you and pay you for your work, and you know that as we've done before. All right, remember that the top 2 fantasy team winners will receive $50 each from us here at 5K Tennis, and we will give you the same amount if you don't want the $50 and you'd rather have a couple shirts from 5K or a couple shirts from Y-Tex or Diadem or a couple sets of strings. We can do that as well. Okay? After last night, we know that Muguruza lost. Okay? Carla gets happy about this because the more top people that lose, that selected them for the $500, we don't have to pay it out.
No, not only that, because of what she said.
What did she say?
The Djokovic interview. She's being all bratty. So I don't like bratty girls, sorry. So for me, I was like, good, Cornet. I said, could have been better, Cornet. On her birthday, beat her.
Why was Muguruza being bratty, quote unquote?
Because they asked her about the Novak Djokovic. She was offended. They even asked her the question. She was tired of the questions. She basically said he should have known better.
We'll get into that. I do know where you're coming from, and I agree with you. All right, so I'm going to do a quick fantasy team leaderboard. A lot of you have been asking me privately, hey, where am I at? I'm only going to give the top 5, and again, this is only round 2. The points continue to change drastically, especially in week 2, because there's only a few players left, so the score changes rapidly in round 2. I see the tripod there. Okay, so the fantasy team leaderboard is this. In first place, Stefan Nizovic. What's up? My brother in Serbia.
He's happy.
I always want to remind Stefan, he's an incredible basketball player and he's really tall, but I will dunk on you, and I've told you this before. If you ever want to come to Alabama from Serbia, do me a favor, just let me know when. You have a place to stay, I'll feed you, whatever, you don't have to do anything but buy the plane ticket, and I can even potentially help you with that. But my goal now in life is to dunk on you. And yeah, I'm 6'1", but I will put the ball through the hoop and be like, get some.
Doubt it. With one knee.
Yeah,
one knee, you're gonna dunk one.
She is correct. I blew out my right knee. I ruptured completely my patellar tendon, and it took 18 months of recovery because I went
Sounds like you're funny.
Because I went for an overhead that she hit at me. So I was trying to dunk the basketball, metaphorically speaking, and I came down and I blew out my knee. But nonetheless, I would dunk on you in my heart. Let's go. Come on, Stefan.
Stefan, aren't you like aren't you like in your 20s?
Still dunk on
44.
Care.
Bad knees.
Let's go, Stefan.
6'1" compared to 6'5", 6'6".
And I'll swat that stuff to the bleachers, man. Get out of here.
Thin? Probably not so thin.
I give him an elbow. Boom. He tries to drive in. Bow. Check him with the elbow and then steal it and dunk on him.
Yeah.
Okay, in first place, as of round 2, first place, Stefan Nizovic. Let's go. Double dribble. Let's go, Stefan. Second place, OG, Furzy09, around since the very beginning of this channel, as well as Stefan, as well as a couple of you on the leaderboard. Furzy09 is in second place. In second, I sound like Bugs Bunny. Stefan Izovic, by the way, has 60 points. Furzy09 is in second place at 56 points. What's up, Furzy? In third place, a newcomer to the game, Calc, like short for calculus, C-A-L-C. He's calculating his way onto the leaderboard, and he has 55 points and is in third place. Number 4 and number 5 on the leaderboard are Taylor, welcome, he's a new player as well, making noise, and as well Thomas Chi, who he's not editing the picks. I know he does the scoring, but I have his team, and he is definitely on the leaderboard. Okay, shout out to Robert Frush out there. He is a good friend here, but he lost a lot of people yesterday, and he is no longer even close to the leaderboard.
Some of those people he lost should retire.
Yeah.
Another person who lost was Contabate. I thought, wow, Towson beat her, the young girl. That killed a lot of you. Why did they pick Contabate?
Contabate had a favorable draw.
But again, like those, Contabate is like to Sakari, maybe less. Raducanu lost, so she's like a Raducanu to me.
And before we get into the special guest, did you see how Savalanka looked last night?
Oh my gosh, I couldn't stop taking my eyes off of her. Not because she's hot.
She's not.
Because I was like, wow, how is this lady still playing tennis? I think she's like 29, 30. She looked like she had the body of your typical 60-year-old. No disrespect to any 60-year-old, but you know, like we gain weight as we get older. Her arms were like Mike Walker says, grandma arms. Her legs were like small calves, big thighs. So, and then her stomach, it was big. She was wide. And she has wide hips, wide waist. She just looked very old, and she's not that old.
She's been
and I'm like, how does Stozier, somebody so fit, did not drop shot her butt all day long? I would have drop shot log, move her side to side, give her no power. I'm shocked that Stozier lost that match. You had a fit player, one of the fittest players, against one of the most how would you say, unfit players.
Good, yeah, well said.
Yeah.
One of the top things we tell junior players as they begin their tournament career is when you're warming up, size up your opponent. One of the things we want to look at is, are they in great shape? Number 2 is we want to look at their strokes. Can they execute during the warm up? And then whatever we find out during the warm up is a problem, then we try to go at that issue as the match begins. But
the dress was awful. If I were her, I would have worn maybe a looser skirt and a looser shirt. It just wasn't appealing, you know, like those. First of all, those type of dresses that give you the high waistband,
like a big belt thing.
If you are someone like me, wouldn't wear them because it would, it would make me look fat. You have to have the right body type.
If Carla ever says the word fat, she spells it P-H-A-T, which stands for pretty hot and tempting.
No, I mean fat. It makes you look bigger than what you really are. I know that a lot of women wear these tight dresses with the high belt to hide their bellies, but it doesn't help. It actually does the opposite. It makes you look like you're pregnant, actually.
What is the science behind that? Does it bring the waistline up?
It's supposed to, but some people, if they have no waistline, if you don't have a waistline and your waist is wide, it's not a good look. Like when Osaka wears those type of dresses, and she's not a big girl.
Osaka has come and gone with bigness.
Yes, but it doesn't look good on her. Even Serena wearing the high, it doesn't. You have to be a thin girl, like who's a thin girl? Rozwanska, right. You have to, Sharapova did it well because she was a thin girl. That's the type of body you have to have for those high waist dresses. Because not only that, if you're big chested, it makes you look even bigger. It makes like the boobs are overlapping on the waist.
Kind of like Miss Parker?
Yes, it's just odd. It's just an odd look.
Yeah, Miss Parker. Okay, we're going to introduce the special guest, and we're going to get into that and more. So without further ado, the guest that we have on the show is a really important guest, and this guest is actually named after a tennis player, one of our favorite tennis players growing up, long before Carla and I knew each other existed, was Gabriella Sabatini. And here, watch out for the tripod there, we're going to introduce you to this fine young upcoming tennis player. This is Gabriella Davis.
See, you could wear the dresses because you're thin, but someone like Pavlyuchenkova knew.
Okay, so Gabriella, we're going to ask you 10 questions. No stress needed. Just speak freely, and she's a very free thinker. Kids will always just say how it is, and that's okay. So speak freely. No worries about what you say. Okay, Gabriella, number one. How old are you currently?
I'm 9.
Make sure. I don't know. Can you hear her because she tends to talk really quiet?
I'm 9.
She's 9. All right. Not 9.5, but you're 9.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Okay. Gabriella, second question. At what age did you start tennis?
I would say 4 or 5.
You'll say 4 or 5. Okay. Fair enough. No need to elaborate on that. You're all right with 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question number 3, and I think this is a very important question. You started tennis at age 4 or 5. Do you like your coaches? Do you think your coaches are good coaches?
Yeah. They're my mom and dad, yeah.
So do you feel like you have to say that simply because we're sitting here, or would you say the same thing behind closed doors?
Same thing.
Okay. What do you enjoy about your coaches? What do you feel is benefiting you from these coaches?
They're funny and nice.
Funny and nice.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Good job, Carla.
I don't know. It was nice.
We did not tell her to say that, by the way. Okay, I appreciate the sentiment. Question number 4, and this is an important one. Honestly, and I know your coaches tend to push you a little bit, do you actually enjoy playing the game of tennis?
Yeah.
How so?
I like doing the serve in my free time.
And I'm not quite sure if they can hear you because I quite can't.
I like doing my serve sometimes.
Okay.
And I like my backhands too.
All right.
Yeah, who showed you backhands?
Mommy.
Mom. That's the first thing. I noticed that every coach likes to perfect forehands on students when they first teach them. No, perfect the backhand because that could be a weapon. Because
Yeah.
that's where most of the shots go.
Yeah, one of the problems, and maybe this
Yeah.
is just a United States thing, but one of the problems that we have with coaching and how we feel as coaches and why the USA Tennis is on the decline is you can go to clinics and private lessons all over the place. And I'm not saying it's a small percentage, it's a large percentage where the coach is self-indulged, cares so much about how they look and what they do and what they say and how many. Coaches are so self-indulged, at least a majority of them, not all, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can go to some of these coaches' clinics, every student can hit a forehand from the center of the court, but that's about it. If you move them off the center of the court, they have trouble. None of them have a serve workable yet. We know people that have been playing for a couple of years that have come to us, and they have a good forehand from the center of the court, and they have a lollipop serve grip. What does that mean? So one of the grips that just does not work in the game. We don't get into grips too much because everybody is a different a folk and different strokes for different folks, right? But if we have a forehand grip, especially a semi-western grip on the serve, we call it a lollipop because when we come around, our racket is just like a pitter pack, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see so many players that have been trained for a couple of years, and all they have is a forehand from the center of the court and a lollipop serve. So my next question, Gabriella, you have been working on your serve extensively for the past couple of years. You started when you're 4, you're 9, and we still don't have the serve the right way, I think, spot on. Do you think that you have progressed in learning the serve recently? I know you just played a match recently here, and you won that match, and you only double faulted once. So do you feel like your serve is getting better?
Yes, I do.
Let's go. Come on, Gabby, let's go. All right. Question number 5. Gabriella, if you had to tell everyone what the most difficult stroke in tennis was to learn since you're an up-and-coming player, what stroke would that be?
I'd say the overhead.
The overhead? So is the overhead kind of synonymous with the serve, given that you have to toss the ball as well as hitting the overhead?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a tough shot for a lot of girls.
It's a tough shot.
It's my least favorite shot too.
Especially,
You're right.
especially learning the right way.
Yeah.
We always tell students when you come to us, we're going to push you, and we are not going to alleviate the serve as a lot of coaches do, and we're not going to say it's okay to lollipop the ball on the court. I get it if you're a senior 3-0 player, you're just trying to have fun. I understand that. But when you're an up and coming player, we will never accept a forehand grip and a lollipop serve ever.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End discussion. Fact. I don't care how long it takes. We're going to do it the right way or take the highway. Enough said. Okay. Question number 6, and we're only going to 10. Question number 6. Gabriella, when do you plan to enter your first tennis tournament? What is it that you need to do to finally enter your first tennis tournament? Speak
I
quick.
would say to move the opponents more and my serve.
Okay, so in other words, you would like to hit the ball more at angles and into corners versus right back up into the middle of the court. So in other words, you don't want to give the ball back to someone so much. You want to actually try to dictate the point and not just hoping to get it over the net, right? Now, she's doing really well. She does play a very clean game. It's just the serve that we're still tweaking, but she played a match the other day, and she threw in a double fault or two, but nonetheless, she won that match against someone her same age quite easily. So I think you did very well.
Only one double.
Yeah, one double fault. Otherwise, she didn't lose the game. I think it was a 6-0 or something. Okay, so question number 7. Do you think you will ever beat your older sister, Liliana? Liliana is 12. She's 9. Liliana also plays number 1 on a high school varsity tennis team. And that tennis team now, after a couple years, is respectable. Okay. Do you think you'll ever beat your older sister, Lily?
Yeah,
How quickly?
really quickly.
Really quickly? Okay.
Don't let her see the video.
So Lily hits the ball hard and has a big serve. I was playing Lily the other day and just some points, and Lily threw in like 3 or 4 aces against me, and I was trying. I don't ever give my
what
kids.
Lily's missing is confidence.
Yeah.
To believe in yourself and not get angry,
I have a
which
lot-
is what Gabby has. What
I-
Gabby needs is the power that Lily has.
Yeah.
So if you guys could just combine the two things, you would be very good players. So she needs your confidence and your patience, and you need her power.
All right, question number 8. We're almost to the end, and we'll get right into the Australian Open. Gabriella, who is your favorite male and who is your favorite female tennis player? In other words, WTA or ATP? Who's your favorite male player?
My favorite, Nadal.
Rafael Nadal. She took that after Mama, obviously. Let's go Djokovic. Second place would be Roger. Third place would be Stefan Edberg for me personally. Fourth, believe it or not, would be Boris Becker. I hate to say it, but yes.
Boris Becker is cool.
I love Boris. Okay, what about the female player?
Serena.
Serena Williams. Let's go.
There'll never be someone like her. You know that, right?
Do you think Serena Williams wins another major?
No, not anymore. She's having fun. It seems like she's having fun every time I see her social media. And that's great. She deserves it. She won so many slams. None of these weak-ass girls that won 1 Grand Slam obviously have been able to do the same thing as Serena, you know? When Serena won at 19, she was a beast.
Let's go.
And she stayed a beast, and she was hungry. These girls are too worried about looking pretty and being all proper.
Ask Raducanu. Who is that? We'll get into her in a minute. 2 more questions. Gabriella, speak freely. Number 9, what is your favorite thing to do besides tennis?
I have 2. I really like to study space, and I also like to pretend I do gymnastics.
You like to study space, which we do, and see the thing is, Carla and I.
Oh, 17, even worse, Michael Walker. Thank you.
Yeah, so Carla and I sometimes take 2 different vehicles to come where we teach. Namely, if all the kids come and we have the stringer and everything else in the car, and Gabriella will ride in the truck with me, and I have an old I forget what year it is. What is it?
1945?
No, it's a 1985 Chevrolet truck with a 5-speed. So there's only room for 1 passenger with a seatbelt. So she rides, and usually I like to listen to music and drive the whole time and get in my zone, you know. But Gabriella, on the other hand, turns the radio down and starts talking about the planets and space and being an astronaut. So she's a very intellectual young child. She takes after my father and my mother both. But when you're always talking about propulsion, space, atmospheric conditions, she does that at 9. I'm really quite proud of that. So great job there.
And then also gymnastics.
But you said you like to pretend that you do gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
you're
practice it.
okay. So you're kind of doing this gymnastics things, but I never know you even did it at all.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, but good enough. But that, I would back that up. But ultimately, I didn't know
You
that.
need to be a beast by 9 already.
Let's go beast
Just
mode.
saying, ask girls in China and Russia.
All right, question number 10 and the last question. Gabriella, speak freely and tell all of them. And she doesn't know I asked her. I'm going to ask her this question. But question number 10. At 9 years old, you know, when I was young, I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to fly military aircraft like my father, right? Tennis ended up being a big part. He instilled tennis in me and got me into coaching when I was very young. He coached us. He would have me helping coach lessons when I was 9, 10 years old. Michael Chang, yes, the gentleman that won the French Open. A lot of you may not know who Michael Chang is, but Michael Chang was my sister's big doubles partner. And we got to do lessons and learn the coaching curriculum at a very young age. And so did Michael Chang as well. And that was in Carlsbad, California at San Diego Racket Club. And Brad Humphreys was the pro there. Anyway, The question number 10 is this, Gabriella. What do you honestly want to be when you grow up? And I understand you're 9. What is it you want to be?
I already know that.
You already know.
It's an astronaut, and I want to be the first one to land on Mars.
An astronaut and the first one to land on Mars. Gabriella, have you ever taken into consideration the length of time it would take current propulsion to get you to Mars?
3 years or 2.
2 or 3 years? So you would leave when you're 9, come back and stay there for a little while, and maybe if all works out well from a gazillion miles away, you might come back in one piece, and you still want to do this?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do on the trip for 2 years on the way there just by yourself? Read?
No.
What would you do? Do you think there's communication? Do you think there's a phone line in the shuttle 27 million miles away?
Definitely not.
So what would you do?
I would look out at the stars and see what I can see. If there's anything besides just black and planets.
Do you think you would be bored after looking out the same window for 2 years?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Okay, everyone, give a thumbs up to Gabriella. And I know a lot of people watch the show and absolutely hate what we say, but that's okay. Those people too, give her a thumbs up because she's an awesome daughter. We love you a lot. Okay, you're my little thing. You're my little thing. Okay, she kind of looks similar a little bit, and she's tall like Daddy too and skinny. Okay, thank you very much, Gabby. You may exit. Watch the tripod, and let's go. All right, thank you so much. That was incredible. Love the special guest. We're starting with this. You guys ready?
So Michael Walker's comment cracks me up.
Read it.
He said, let me go back here.
What's up, Mike Walker?
Go back here. If Emma didn't have blisters, she would have won the tournament.
LOL. LOL. Laugh out loud. Thank you for the comment, Michael Walker. I know there was some wit behind that.
I know that hurts. It must hurt hard for those of you who thought Raducanu was going to be the next GOAT.
Raducanu who?
I would say that she should count her lucky stars that she even won the U.S. Open.
Hey, wait.
And don't we have a bet, Michael Walker? How many years did we give her? We have a bet. You wrote it down a long time ago. We do have a bet. Is it 5 years, 4 years, 3 years that she'll never win another Grand Slam? Because I'm still sticking with my bet.
Hey, hopefully she saved your money. We've seen this time and time again, and we're going to talk about, and I have okay, so don't turn off this before the show ends, because I'm going to ask a question, okay? It's a trivia question, and this trivia question is going to be payable for $20 US. So when I ask this question, whoever's the first person to answer it, and I've already looked it up, I have the answers, done the research, the first person to answer it, we will send $20 to immediately by means of Venmo or PayPal. I can send you a personal check by mail, but if it's international and I'm spending $30 in postage to send a check, then maybe not. But the most reasonable way for us to send you $20 US, and I'll ask that question here shortly, okay?
Hey, Ryan. Gabby, Ryan said hi.
Is that Mason? Mm-hmm. Let's go. Be careful on the way out the window. Funny enough, where we teach, I locked us in the building. So in order to get out, we have to crawl out the window. And
he locked us in.
This is the second time I've done this because the lock is inside out. The lock is outside. So I locked the door thinking if someone pulled up, they couldn't get in, but it's wrong. My brain wasn't thinking clearly. Topic number 1. You ready? This has to do with COVID, not touching back on the Novak Djokovic thing, even though Novak is suing Australia for a meager $6 million for the way he was treated, and we'll get into that as well. Sasha, a.k.a. Alexander, a.k.a. Puppy Hater, a.k.a. Linguini Noodle.
Has anyone seen him with his tank, like the yellow tank?
He's always been wearing a tank.
I want to tell him stop.
Sasha Zverev, I call him Alex. So Alex Zverev indicates that no one, in terms of players, at the Australian Open is getting tested for COVID. And Djokovic is at home. Do you understand what I'm saying? No one's getting tested, but Djokovic is at home. Thoughts on that? Do you care? I mean, to me, it just sounds like they really were politically motivated to screw him in the ass.
Well, I read that the reason that the judge decided Djokovic's fate is because they didn't want anyone thinking like him in Australia to be anti-vax, is what he said. They didn't want him, if they would have allowed him, then people would start thinking like Djokovic, and they didn't want that. They want the whole population to get vaccinated.
When did the free world, namely Western countries, Australia being one of those, when did it become communist in a sense that we will penalize you or kick you out because you believe a certain thing. Again, we're not pro or against anything. We'll never tell you those type of feelings here because half of you will hate us and half of you may like us, whatever.
Don't care.
We always get, yeah, but how is it fitting that if it's not politically motivated, he would be home? Again, so many of you have reached out to us personally and said, do you think this would have happened to Roger Federer given the same situation?
He needs to sue them, even if he doesn't win. Let's sue them. You know, that's what rich people do. They sue each other. Let's waste time on court. Let's waste money.
Yeah.
Let those taxpayers that were, let them pay. I would be suing them and then put another lawyer and sue them so they get tired of it. Why not?
Exactly.
Let's have a circus. It was a circus anyways.
What did Shakespeare say? Something like, thou shalt kill all the attorneys. Again, the attorneys get rich because either deep pockets are always suing one another for an egotistical gain, or they like to break the impoverished person that can't afford an attorney, so they buy one, and then they have no savings left, i.e. divorce attorneys especially.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He was treated badly. Yes, Gene. It's not his fault, Michael Walker. Why? Because they told him he could come, and then one person said you can't come, and the other people decided no.
Yeah, they told him.
Like I said, it would have been easy. Hey, like the French Open's about to do. All must be vaccinated to play. Pretty simple. The rule is simple. No exemption. The rule is simple. Black and white. You can't change it, right? They should have done that. If they're that smart, and they're a country that's so. By the way, they sound like idiots, making the sound of. What you said, idiots. They obviously been locked down for a long time. I mean, I was watching Daniil Medvedev. I agree with him. I liked him even more after listening to his interview once he beat Nick Kyrgios. They sound like idiots. Come up with something else. You guys been locked down for so long. People become stupid when they're locked up.
Well, the Australian Open, as well as a lot of the majors, or all of them, given the right player, they become a raucous crowd. Now, this jeering or booing, it's not really a jeer or a boo. It's Cristiano Ronaldo's kind of celebration when he scores a goal.
It's tennis, though.
I think a lot of people that don't understand that, though, that may not watch European football or soccer, whatever you want to call it. But it's mimicking a celebration, and now because it's gotten media attention, now the crowd is doing it all the time, so they can get coverage, right? I don't think it's a big deal, and I love the way Daniil Medvedev.
It is a big deal. Look,
I don't think it is a big deal.
It is stupid.
Why can't you deal with the crowd?
First of all, Jim Courier's asking him, once he won his match, asked him, hey, and I'm not quoting it, but they asked him, how did you feel, when you were playing your match? Did you feel a lot of pressure? And he said, well, it was hard with the boos between the first and second serve, and then they were like, and they kept going and going, and he says, guys, please. He's like, be quiet, I can't hear. He said, can you please stop screaming out? No, I'm sorry, let me say, can you show some respect? Show some respect, he says, at least for Jim Courier. Out of all people, show some respect. He was pissed off about it, but he was being funny at the same time. But it was annoying. Every time he tried to talk, you would hear the crowd go, ooh. Very annoying, in my opinion.
Have you guys ever heard of a comedian, and he was a tennis player, not at the pro level, but he's a YouTuber too, and his name is Elliot Loney. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of him. I think that Elliot Loney does a better job of doing Jim Courier than Jim Courier does himself. Look, I'm always a big fan of Jim Courier, fine player, French Open guru, won majors, love him to death. But when he talks, he's so cheesy. Let me ask you a question. How do you?
But he's just being cool.
But yeah,
he's what you would call what, a metrosexual, I would think. He dresses pretty nice. And
what does that mean? What does metrosexual mean? I've never heard the term.
Like Ricky Martin. He dressed. They're not. It's not that.
What does that mean? I've never heard the term.
It's the way they dress. They have a proper. I don't know. He dresses very preppy and stuff. He's got style. He's got Jim Courier, you got to give him credit. He always looks good out there.
I've never heard anything bad about Jim Courier. Watched him since I was a young boy.
I mean, as far as him presenting himself physically, I'm talking about. He always looks the part. You know what I'm saying? Like you watch Brad Gilbert and you want to tell him, hey,
I like Brad Gilbert too.
Shave or don't wear that shirt or that's not a good combo.
No, so Brad Gilbert is a California boy like me.
Yes, I know he's gay, but remember everybody.
Who is?
Not Jim Courier. Ricky Martin is gay, but when he first came out, everybody used to say, oh, he dresses like a metrosexual. And then
I've never heard the term.
I knew he was gay before he came out that he was gay because our friend used to ride him in his limousine and he told us that he was. It was all a show. But who cares? Doesn't matter here or there.
In the comment
It doesn't
section,
matter.
in the comment section, put a number 1 if you have ever heard the term metrosexual, and put a 2 if you have not heard the term metrosexual.
Well,
Because
obviously, Sir
personally,
John
I
is-
haven't heard of it.
Sir John says Berrettini is metrosexual.
Is that Sergey Jovanovic?
Yeah.
Let's go. Serbia's in the
Michael
house.
Walker said 1, Gene Schwartz says 1. There's nothing wrong with that. But anyways,
How did I miss this? Like, I read every day, and if I don't know a word, whether I'm listening to a
you and
lecture.
Bozidar said yes 1. Gene Schwartz.
How did you guys leave me out on this?
Alex Villar 1. He's obviously not metrosexual.
I don't know. Maybe I need to try. Okay, a couple
man.
things ending this topic, and we're going to go to the next one. Novak Djokovic is suing Australia for a meager $6 million. Why do I say meager? Australia is not only a country, but it's a continent. It's an entire continent. When you go to grade school and you learn the 7 continents, this is a continent, and he's only suing him for $6 million. I would have gone into the hundreds of millions, honestly. He's a $100 million athlete, couple $100 million athlete. I think his net worth is somewhere approaching $500 million, like $500 million. A global icon to me and to a lot of people, and a piece of garbage to others, and those people need to study. By the way, when we first started the show, Carla didn't like Novak Djokovic at all. And between a young lady, respectively, and a bank that was from Serbia that sat her down crying to plead her case because of this show about how good Novak is, and between all of you from Serbia, Surgeon, Stefan, and a ton of other people, they have enlightened her. Novak has exemplified himself as a wonderful human being. Look what he does in the streets in Belgrade. He'll pop up and he'll hit balls with children on the streets in Belgrade, the same Belgrade that was war-torn for many years. And by the way, if anybody's paying any attention to it, there is another war brewing in the farther east there with Ukraine and Russia. I won't get into geopolitics, but nonetheless, these poor people, man, have been war-torn forever, and Novak goes there and does his thing. And the same thing that I've never seen Roger Federer do or Nadal do outside of media-driven events. In other words, Djokovic gets caught in the streets of Belgrade at night on someone's cell phone, right? The only time you'll see Federer and Nadal doing that is when there's an entourage of people around and they're on top of some building in Dubai.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I
Tell me I'm wrong.
like William Spencer. I did read that. He says most frightening thing I've heard about this pandemic from the Aussie authorities, saying Djokovic was a danger to society as he might become an icon
Whatever.
of free choice.
So why doesn't anybody talk?
That is scary. It makes you think, right?
Why doesn't anybody talk about Aaron Rodgers, the American football player, the quarterback with the same mindset? Why doesn't anybody talk about Kyrie Irving, the American basketball player with equally as much money?
Isn't there a surfer?
Kelly Slater, the pro surfer. Yes, I was a surfer, still am. I still surf. I blew out my knee, so I can't pop up quick enough. So if it's really big, I have to pass because I have to pop up too quick. And with this repaired knee, I would have to crawl. You don't have enough time.
Michael Walker says, no, Justin, only Federer has a net worth approaching 600 million.
Check it out, though.
He
I read
said
an
Novak is
article.
worth almost 250 million.
Well, okay, yes, okay. Thank you for getting the precision. But he's definitely.
Yes, I know about that, Gene Schwartz, about him. We talked about that yesterday about Djokovic purchasing the Danish biotech.
Yes, we talked about that on
Yes.
yesterday's show. Must have missed that part. That's okay. He's a very busy young man. I hope you're studying hard, and I hope you're working your way into college. But anyway, but yes, we talked about that yesterday. It's not a vaccine that he's investing in, and I'm talking $80 million he invested, 80% stake rather, in the company, and it's a Danish company that's creating a non-vaccination drug that increases peptides in the human's anatomy, physiobiology, in order to not allow that virus to spread.
Right.
So it's a non-vax drug that is not as questionable of what's going into your body. Okay, couple things to end the Novak Djokovic and the suit part of this show. $6 million, first of all, is not enough. They should pay for that. Number two, an entire continent, again, I've already said this, an entire continent of people, only $6 million. The whole continent made him look bad, and he's not. Next thing, Roland Garros stated that no vaccine, no play. This is the stance that Australia should have taken, so he wouldn't have wasted a bunch of time moving forward. He just wouldn't have shown up. The last thing in this kind of segment is Rafael Nadal right now could potentially get his 21st major and 22nd major. Why am I saying that? Well, Nadal is the remaining big three that's in the tournament. I think Daniil Medvedev and Zverev will have something to say about it, but because of Nadal's experience and his intimidation factor he gets because of that experience, just walking onto the court with him, he could, I'm not saying he is, but he very well could win this Australian Open. And then if Novak cannot play at the French Open, I can assure you he'll win that one. So now Nadal could have 22.
Going back to Novak, I mean, the reality is, and I hate to say it, but, again, it's like if you want to be in the military, you got to get vaccinated.
But this isn't the military. It's tennis.
But it's a rule, right, they're making.
Okay,
so
we'll follow the rule.
if he's going to have to follow it, because I'm sure he doesn't want to see Nadal win another slam, and
of course he doesn't.
He's going to allow that to happen.
Think about this, and we're going to the next segment.
Yeah, I don't think he's winning the Australian Open too, Michael.
Okay, I don't either. I agree with you, but he could.
Yeah.
He could. Novak, since he's had 20 majors with the rest of them, okay, has accidentally hit a lady in the throat with a tennis ball. Okay,
I will never forget that.
If that didn't happen, he would have 21. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. The lady should have been. There should have been a tryout because her ass couldn't duck and move on that ball. I mean, if I'm at the net and someone hits a 120-mile-an-hour forehand at my throat, I can dunk that. She can't dunk a damn ball tap back there, man. Get lost. Work out, man. Get in the gym. Stop playing around so much. And then she realized it was Djokovic that hit him, and she was like, ugh, and then was like, wait a minute, that's Djokovic. I'm going down. Get lost. She's probably metrosexual.
No, that's not the meaning.
What does that mean?
Justin, the same thing with Chung and Kwan.
Let's go, Kwan. Let's go, Chung. Okay, topic number 2, and here's how it's going to start. By the way, you see me keep getting up. We are doing this not at our studio, but this is my cell phone, and if I don't touch the screen ever so often, the video will cut
William
out.
Spencer, I agree with this. Players like Barakova could do with 6 million more. She's a relatively poor player, yet should be lucky to get a tenth of that. And they made her strip as well.
Djokovic is the type guy that'll sue him for $6 million, take the $6 million, give it to these players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Djokovic is that type of guy. He's the type of guy that'll sue someone and give it back.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Or invest it in his home.
Oh, man.
Okay, he needs to repair a bunch of bombed out swimming pools.
I wonder if that lady still did they get rid of the line still?
Man, she should have been told to get lost.
I wonder if she still works.
Yeah, look that up. Is that lady still employed as a linesman?
Because they got rid of the line judge in New York this time. So which Novak was like, yes.
Yeah, there was an umpire, and I forget his name, that actually got down from his chair and tried to talk to Nick Kyrgios at one point in time. Yeah. I think he's still an avid ref or chair umpire, but he caught a lot of grief.
It looked like that was a fun match, by the way, last night.
We're gonna talk about that. Yeah. Okay, next topic. Here we go. Raducanu. Who is that? I got drilled. I lost like 30 subscribers because I said this on a rant. And if you haven't seen that rant, check out the video. Go to our page and scroll down and find like a 3 or 4 minute clip about Raducanu where I just go off. And everybody was like, you're an asshole. And here we are. Raducanu. Okay,
Those blisters. Like I said, these pretty girls, man, they're not built strong.
Oh, my finger hurts. My finger hurts.
Shoot, you gotta even admire Nadal with blisters. He still plays. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, we've seen Rafa play with big chunks the size of a silver dollar out of his hand and his feet. And don't tell me that it's a. I've seen Carla go through matches with the shoulder she can't even serve with. She'll just throw it in underhand and just attack.
So John says, I heard the lady from New York was Federer's aunt and Nadal's sister.
Yes, let's go. Comment of the day. Who said that? Who said that?
That was Sir John Giovanni.
Let's go, Surgeon. Let's go.
Dar said Justin should have his stand-up show. He cracks me up when he does the neck thing with his hair, because the hair is just like.
But think about it. Homegirl was sitting there and look.
Sitting, she was standing.
Well, okay, no, it's more like a thing where they're doing this. They're kind of like on their knees like this, and they're like up, and she has the ball come right at her, that zoned in,
she was standing
and she's like,
She was standing.
dodge that thing, man, dodge that. Set up.
It wasn't even that hard.
Set up.
Yeah.
Look, I train 4-year-olds and hit volleys, and sometimes it catches them in the shoulder or the head, because they didn't move their racket quick enough, and they shake that off.
Man,
This was a grown woman that went down like a sack of
cry.
potatoes.
I love when somebody kids cry. I'm like, come on, you got it. Come on now.
Stupid.
Jose P said, what do you guys think of Savalanka's match versus Blanc?
We have a topic on this.
Oh.
Jose P, when we get to this topic, Carla even has a racket on her side.
No, I'm not gonna do all that,
But you did such a good job of it when we were reviewing the show.
the serve, I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, that they were doing the serve. Savalanka should toss the ball. They were analyzing the toss, how high it was. And I asked Justin, I'm like, why are they analyzing her serve? She doesn't even want to slam. There's other players out there they could be like, talking about.
Them.
And we're analyzing a serve. First of all, my daughter Luciana was like, Mom, is that a dude?
Really? Lily said that?
Yeah, and
Our daughter, Lily.
And then Krista was like, yeah, she kind of does look like a dude.
Ooh.
And then when they heard her grunting, she was like, ooh.
Now, she doesn't have a grunt. She squeals like a stuffed pig. Holy shit.
Daddy, you don't sound like a pig, you sound like a horse.
Thank
Sound
you.
like a horse.
Okay.
But they were like, yes, Savalanka serve.
Okay.
She tosses the ball high.
And
She needs to make, and then Brad Gilbert's like, yes, when she drops her racket, she needs to go. I'm like, what do they even do? What are they
She
even
drops her
talking
elbow.
about?
She drops.
And she
look,
drops the elbow.
and then she has this little twitch
The
here.
elbow's here too long. Like any viewer that's watching is gonna understand that. And the elbow's here. And then as she comes up, I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then Brad Gilbert walks in with his Wilson blade all painted up nicely, knowing it's a promo. And then the other gentleman had a brand new Yannick, so obviously there was some sponsorships for that segment.
Alex Couillard said, I don't understand this.
But-
I'm like, and then when she makes contact, I'm like, okay, what is this even showing us? Like, you guys are definitely not YouTubers that can break down the serve, for sure.
Yeah. The moral of the story is Woogies. Who gives a shit, right? There's a lot of players out. And by the way, Brad Gilbert, and I forget the gentleman's name, and I should know this. He was a great tennis player, an English player, and a good one. But it was unnecessary, and I think it was just to waste kind of airtime. They all made valid points. They're correct.
Yes.
They were correct.
They should have said her serve sucks. Shape up, young lady, and go work on your serve.
Yeah, and then go talk about people that have actually won a major.
Gene Schwartz, great number statistic here. Savalanka has hit 159 serves and hit 75 double faults so far in 2020.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That overtakes the knowledge drop of the day. So I think Stefan had the comment of the day with the Federer's sister and so forth. But that's the knowledge drop of the day. So 159 serves, and is that, if I understood that, half of that number is double faults?
75, 159, 75. So
There you
almost
go,
half.
50%.
Almost 50%.
Okay, back to this topic,
And
okay?
she still won. Yeah, what she should have won in two sets.
Okay, here's the
2 sets. She almost got bagel. I watched the first set and I was laughing. I was like, Justin, didn't you say this girl was gonna win a Grand Slam before Osaka? And I was laughing
Well,
because I
not
remember
before
that
Osaka, but till
before
she won the
Osaka
next
won
one.
another one. Yeah, and I was
And she
laughing.
hasn't
You're like,
yet.
no.
And
You're
Osaka
like,
hasn't won
yes, she
another one.
did. She won the
Since I
Australian.
said that?
Yes, we can go back to our old show.
Okay, for time reasons, we have a lot more segments to go. So this segment is Raducanu, and as well I'm throwing in Andreescu, and as well I'm throwing in Sophia Kenin. Okay, so Sophia Kenin should change her name to Keninescu. Okay, Raducanu, Andreescu, and Keninescu. Why am I saying this? Here's the $20 question. The first person to answer this, we will send you $20 immediately by means of Venmo, PayPal, or personal check. But again, if you're in Serbia or something and I got to spend $30 on postage to send you a check that you probably can't cash there anyway, just tell me something different. I'll send you a set of strings or a shirt or something. But I'll make sure you get. Here's the question, and we have already done the research. Carla and I lost over 25, closer to 30 subscribers when I went on that video rant about Raducanu. Okay, she had just won the U.S. Open, and I went off right then. So did Flavia Pineda, so did Roberta Benchi, and so many other vintage players too. When I mean vintage, I don't mean that long ago. Okay, check that video out. Okay, because that's how I feel, and I don't want to go into that again. Here's the trivia question. Carla and I always give a lot of grief to some of these players that come around and they win one major and everybody jumps on board. Oh, they're the next GOAT. They're the next GOAT. Carla and I were born into the game. We've been around it our entire lives, and there's a lot of one and done type players out there. And when this happens, You know, like Serena Williams, she won her first one. We knew she would be great. She was different. She was electric. She was powerful. There's nothing different about Raducanu. There's not much different about Andreescu. I do think Andreescu is a much better player than Raducanu. And I think that Sofia Kenin is lesser of a player than the two of them. So in a list of good to worst, I would say Andreescu would be better, Raducanu next, and then Sofia Kenin below that. Doesn't really matter. That's how I feel. It's just an opinion. But here's the trivia question. Since each of these girls, Andreescu, Raducanu, and Sofia Kenin, won their maiden and only major, what was their win and losses record post that? So the question is, Emma Raducanu, Bianca Andreescu, and Sofia Kenin, after they won their major. Okay, so Sofia is Australian, right? Raducanu,
Sofia
the U.S.
is American.
What? Don't interrupt the question because everybody's going to get thrown off.
Okay.
Okay, so
I see what you're saying.
so Sofia Kenin won the Australian Open,
Yes.
right? Raducanu won the U.S. Open,
Yes.
and the last major, or the only major that Andreescu won was the U.S. Open.
Yes.
What was their win-loss record after that major championship? Fair enough? Do you understand the question? I want to know the wins and losses record. In other words, are they 5-5? Are they 20-20? I want to know their win-loss record post that. First person to get it right, and I have it right here, I'll send $20 to right now live on the show. She'll do it right there. Okay. Fair enough?
This was a good one. Bozidar said, what is common with the Lions lady and Roger Federer? He said, what is common between them?
That's a great question. I don't know the
He
answer.
said they both choked in front of Djokovic.
Oh, let's go. Who is that? Who is that?
Bozidar.
That's B-Dog?
Bozidar.
Oh,
Bozidar.
Bozidar. That's
Yes.
a great comment. That's excellent. So Bozidar's getting into the Federer Nadal wit with the sister and cousin, and he's dropping that. So we got a witty show today. I love it. Come on.
Jack Nolte said, don't mention this to some British people. Get horrid offended over Raducanu.
Wah, wah. Crimea River. Isn't there a Justin Timberlake song, Crimea River? Crimea River. I'm not in England.
Josh Heinening said, imagine wanting service advice from Savalanka.
Yeah. The first advice that her coach gives her is to squeal like a stuffed pig. And then the other reason is hey, don't be afraid to throw in some double faults.
Eleanor Noor says the TC analysis are some of the worst. Retired players and ESPN rejects and wannabe comedians. Oh.
Yeah, and don't forget Chris Everett, which again, respectively, was diagnosed with cancer. I just lost a sister to that. My sister just passed away a week ago because of that, so I don't mean any jokes because of that.
Tom Fenton says,
but hold on.
Yeah.
Outside of that, respectively, and we wish her well, Chris Everett is one of the worst snooty commentators I've ever seen, and Carla's been around her in person. Her nose is stuck up to the sky, and if you don't have a $20 million house in Vail, Colorado, you can't even get in close. So that's how Chris Everett comes across.
Tom Fenton said, if you're going to attack Raducanu, then you have to criticize Goff and Fernandez, which we did.
We did.
After losing straight sets, that is more embarrassing than Emma's loss.
Yeah, of course. We
did say that.
We thrashed her the other day.
Both said the same thing.
You missed
And
the show.
the reason why Raducanu is because so many of you said, oh, she's the next GOAT. And we told you after she won the U.S. Open, that will be her only one.
Yeah.
And Leylah Fernandez, we said, well, it didn't matter. Really.
Look,
that final was ridiculous. It was two juniors playing against each other.
Yeah, it was two juniors.
And Coco Gauff, you know what my father said? Get rid of your parents as a coach. It's time to move on. Don't make the same mistake that Donald Young made.
I was fist pump there. I was just fixing to say another player with a lot of great talent that unfortunately the parents kind of halted that talent was Donald Young. For the comment, thank you for the comment, but you must have missed our last 3 years of shows because we always give grief to any player, whether it's fitness, whether it's losing a match, and the players aforementioned we give plenty of grief to. Doesn't matter if you're from U.S. or New England, we're not biased, we're not racially biased, religiously biased, we're no bias, we're not ism biased, we're not COVID biased, we're just here, we're coaches and we played the game.
We just give our opinion,
and
whether you like it or not.
Facts. We have trounced Sofia Kenin, we have trounced Coco Gauff at times.
Yeah, Coco Gauff really is.
We have thrashed
to me
them.
right now, Coco Gauff is disappointing. Obviously, something has to change, and I think my dad said it well. I mean, get rid of the parents. Maybe the parents are just sitting there. They don't need to be there. They need to leave her alone.
Yeah,
let somebody else take over because it's not working out for her.
Yeah, we have thrashed Kenin because she acts like a snooty snob sometimes. We've thrashed Kenin.
And Leylah Fernandez needs to put a little bit of work in the gym, in my opinion. She's too skinny. She's a lefty. She should be really pouncing on the ball, and she's not.
So thank you for the comment, but yes, you're incorrect there. We have thrashed them.
Serjan Jovanovic said, Emma kind of reminds me of Anna Ivanovic. One Grand Slam and that's it.
That's it.
I think that's going
it.
to be the case with Emma. I disagree.
Ivanovic
Anna
is
Ivanovic
better.
had a much more successful career.
Yes.
She made it to a lot of, before she won, she made it to semis
Quarters and semis,
She
yeah.
won titles. I disagree with that one.
And furthermore, to compare the beauty of Anna Ivanovic to Emma Raducanu, no disrespect, but Anna Ivanovic is arguably one of the most beautiful women, and I mean that respectively, that I've ever seen in my life. I'm not the only person that thinks that way. There's a million men out there, and females. Well, Carla, do you agree? I'll ask her. She's a female.
Yeah, I agree.
How beautiful is Anna Ivanovic?
She's very beautiful.
She's gorgeous, and she's naturally gorgeous.
Gene Shore says, Kenna was 12 wins and 8 losses after Australian Open win. No.
Negative.
No. You have to count every tournament.
Every
right?
tournament.
Yeah.
Every single tournament, not majors.
No.
That answer is incorrect.
Yeah.
I'll give another 2 or 3 minutes and I'll give the answer, but someone looked that up. I'll give you a hint. Go to WTA, Women's Tennis Association.com, and click each player and scroll down through all the tournaments and go to where they won their respective major and count every win and loss moving up. For Sofia Kenin, it's a lot more than Andreescu and Raducanu, hence age and so forth and time that's gone by. But negative, that is not correct.
William Spencer said Raducanu hasn't been a top 100 player after losing the first set, yet she's on the verge of being top 10, bro.
There you go. Who said that?
William Spencer.
Let's go, William Spencer, being real. But yes, and let's see, right now it's 1:20. If I don't have an answer in 3 minutes, I'll tell you the answer. But again, look it up. It's pretty simple to look up. If you want $20 to do it. Okay, don't forget for me to tell the answer if no one says it. Okay? Next topic. And this topic has to do with Sasha Zverev and Daniil Medvedev. Okay? We had 50 people, roughly, play our $500 cash giveaway. And that giveaway is based upon you all guessing the men's finalists, the women's finalists, and both winners. It's very difficult to do, but Matt Cain has done it before. Who else has done it? A couple people on the show we've sent stuff to because of that. So it's doable. But after the Muguruza loss and after, who was the other big loss yesterday? Kontaveit. After those 2 losses, half of you were dismissed and there's 25 left. After those 25 have been dismissed, the majority, not all, have chose Zverev beating Medvedev in the final or Medvedev beating Zverev in the final, okay? I do feel it's Medvedev's to win. However, look at Las Vegas, look at gambling. I've said this before, and I don't want to, beat a dead horse. But when there's a bunch of people that always picks the same thing, the same outcome, there's an old saying, the house always wins. I have a hard time believing it's going to happen because so many people selected it.
Right.
With that said, what are your thoughts on everyone's opinion that the Zverev-Medvedev final will occur?
It will not.
You don't think it will?
It won't. No, it won't.
And why?
Because it never happens that way.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Yeah.
So, some of you have picked Nadal playing, somebody, or I think those have the better shot. But it could happen. I think Matt Cain, when he won, had chosen like Djokovic to win Wimbledon when he beat Federer in the 5th set, and then he had the women's right.
Yeah.
So it happens, but because so many people did, I have a hard time believing that.
I have to mention this comment because I was talking to my dad about this as well. Eleanor says many of the women played in tournaments for 1 week before the Australian Open. Good or bad idea in your coaching opinion? Bad idea. You have who was it? Kokonakis won a tournament. Lost first round.
Yep.
It's always a bad idea. I think my dad said true champions. Someone like Nadal, he uses it as a warm-up tournament. He'll lose some matches. It doesn't matter. I think he won one, but they're not putting 100%. Some of these players are putting 100% into it, and then they go into a Grand Slam and they lose. I think maybe a week before a Grand Slam is too much. Play the tournament, maybe lose in the second round. Just get a little warm-up and then lose. Because, some people do that on purpose. They lose. These big players, you've seen them.
Better.
It doesn't mean anything.
Djokovic to Sonego. Let's go, Sonego. Nah.
LeBeau, we got a $20 bet. Your girl gonna lose.
Can anyone give me the answer to the question I asked? I guess no one wants to.
No.
It's just easy research. You can do it on a separate tab while you're here. I mean, we looked it up on the way here. It's a 35-minute drive from house to here. And we looked all this stuff up in like 5 minutes. In 2 minutes, I'll give you the answer. Hey, I saved $20 anyway. Forgot where I was going.
I don't know.
She mentioned Kokonakis won a tournament.
It was his first title, but
first title.
He could have done better.
And I did read that Roger Federer reached out to him and congratulated him. And Kokonakis is a wonderful player. He's had a couple injuries, and it's kind of kept him from moving forward. Now, Carla said that it's a bad idea for players to play prior to a major to, don't want to risk injury or be tired. Now, there's something that defines whether a player does or does not play before a major, and that's income, that's money, that's paying my bills.
Some of them have
I gotta pay my bills.
Yeah, I get all of that.
So if Kokonakis did not win that tournament, he wouldn't be $100,000 richer or whatever the purse was.
True, so it worked out for him.
Yeah, and if he loses a first round match, he still gets, I think, 30 grand or something, or 18 grand at a major.
Yeah.
So someone like Kokonakis has got bills to pay, whereas players, the major players, top 10 players, they're a little bit more forgiving if they don't play because they still can pay their bills.
Gene, did you add the Davis Cup, the Fed Cup? Because I didn't add that, and if so, you would be right. What was the number?
For who? I'm not going to give it out yet. Just tell me.
Where is it?
Who are you looking for? Tell me.
He's got 25 and 18.
For who?
He must have added the Fed Cup, which I didn't add those matches. I didn't think that counted.
That's a match.
Yeah, so he would be right.
Okay, did he get the other two?
No, he just got one. So
I need all three, bro.
Oh, you need all three.
In 1 minute. In 1 minute. And why didn't you add the Davis Cup for Kenin? Was it on there?
Davis Cup,
why
Fed
you
Cup.
add that?
I didn't add it.
Jeez, I should have looked it up myself.
I didn't add it.
Because I asked her, I looked up the other two before I left the house, and I asked Carl to look up the third on the way. She looked it up wrong. So do me a favor, take away Kenin, because she should have added up every match.
He's the only one that's answered it.
Okay, I'm going to give you the answer, okay? That was simple. He squandered $20.
He's the only one that attempted.
Okay, but he only gave us one and not all three, as I asked.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenin's win-and-loss record prior to the U.S. Open, Kenin's record after winning the U.S. Open, I'm going to take out of the question because I'm taking Carla's number and she didn't add up a match,
Gene said
which
it
I
right.
told her not to do.
Gene said it right, though. It's 25 and 18.
But what about the other two?
Oh, he didn't say that. No.
Okay, I'm giving out the answer. Waited long enough. Sophia Kenin's record, I guess she looked it up incorrectly. The tournament she added up was 21 and 19. So she had won 21 matches and 19 matches outside of the Fed Cup prior to that, but I'll scratch that. Okay, but I looked up Raducanu and Andreescu myself, so I know I did it right. Emma Raducanu, since winning her lone major, the U.S. Open, her record is 3 wins and 5 losses. 3 and 5. She's got a losing record. Okay, Bianca Andreescu has been injured for the most part, but her record since winning the U.S. Open is 19 and 17. So we have Sophia Kenin, that was 21 and 19, excluding the Fed Cup, since her U.S. Open win. We have Emma Raducanu, who's 3 and 5. And then we have Bianca Andreescu, who's 19 and 17. Subpar statistics for players that won majors. What does that tell you? The women's game is very unpredictable. Now, Serena Williams, after winning her first major, if you look, it got to be so many, I couldn't keep up with it. But Serena Williams had something like 150 matches to like 20 losses or something, and I stopped counting.
Yeah, I think even Krejcikova, who won the French Opens, had a pretty good run.
Yeah,
Really good run.
Yeah,
she's been pretty consistent, very consistent actually.
I agree.
She did well at. She won the French Open. She did well at Wimbledon. She did well at the U.S. Open.
She's still in this tournament?
She's still in this tournament, so she's been pretty consistent.
Yes, Krejcikova, I would go out on a limb and go ahead and tell you she's one of the elite players. Okay, yeah. She's hanging tough. She's done well. She's went deep. She won the French Open, and she's still trucking along.
Yeah.
I can't say that for the others. Bianca, again, injury prone. I know the feeling that's me. Okay. To the Medvedev-Nick Kyrgios match. It's no surprise that it's no surprise that Daniil Medvedev won that match. He should.
Yeah.
It went 4 sets. Kyrgios got a set. So what have Carla and I always said about Nick Kyrgios? He's out of shape. He doesn't put enough work in terms of off the court, gym, fitness.
Well, you can see it on his body. Okay.
Fun athlete, don't care for a lot of the sideshow antics, but he could have been, and I'm saying could have been because he's getting older now, and it's going to be really hard for him to dominate the game, even if he woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, I'm going to hire a coach, I'm going to start working out, and I'm really going to put everything into the game. Mm-hmm. It would be really hard for him now at this point to become one of the greats. Mm-hmm. And that has to do with what he put into the game off the court. Mm-hmm. He's the player that, hey, I got money, that's cool, and then I'll just live my life and I'm set no matter what. And there's nothing wrong with that. But his time frame of becoming one of the greats, it's done.
Yeah,
He's too old at this point. We spoke about Nick Kyrgios' fitness level, and I think one of his comical type gestures on the court was a cornerstone of what we're talking about. So Nick Kyrgios was having fun with the crowd and blah, 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 and he walked over to the sideline, and anyway, he grabbed a sip of one of the fans' beers, and that's fine, that's great, there's nothing wrong with that, that's fine. But to have that mindset where I'm going to go take a sip of someone's beer on the court, it just goes to show you that you don't really particularly care how you look to children, to people that are watching you. I would never in my life, I love to drink beer, by the way, but there's never a time in my life where I would have children around me in that type of international broadcast and take a sip of a beer. I just wouldn't. It's not healthy. Yes, I'm guilty, but it's not, and it's not. It's something that can destroy families, and to make light of it, I think you should leave that out. You don't even go on things like Johnny Carson show when I was a kid, or Jay Leno. I don't watch TV, and those are the last shows I remember. But you never saw them sitting there drinking a glass of wine on the show, right? And that's just an American thing, much less an international thing. So I no big deal, but he's just one of those guys that could have had a much better career.
Yeah.
All right. The next match for Daniil Medvedev is the 26-year-old Dutchman, 6'3", right-handed, two-handed backhand player of Van der Schulp, right? I think he's a Danish player, Netherlands or something.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the two matches that Van der Schulp has played prior to this, okay? He beat Jan-Lennard Struff in the first round, straightforward, okay? Struff is a fine player. Also in the second round, he beat Richard Gasquet, who's a fine player in his own right. I get he's older. Medvedev is a heavy favorite, but this Van der Schulp gentleman is no slouch. He's been around, he's played many of five-setters, and he'll give it his all. Do I think he'll win? No. But the matchup is one to be watched because he's a good player, right? You agree or disagree? Okay? Anything else you want to hit on this subject?
No.
That's it?
That's it.
Let's look at Sasha Zverev for a moment. Sasha Zverev in the first round beat Altmaier in round one. 7-6, 6-1, 7-6, straight sets.
Yeah, he's had a
good job.
Clean tournament.
Yes, he beat John Millman, the Aussie, in the second round. 4-4-0, served up a bagel for breakfast in that match.
Yeah.
And next he faces Albat. Albat is Moldovan, I think. Albat's a scrappy little player. He's a fighter, okay? Albat and Zverev have met one time in their history, and it was a five-setter at the 2019 U.S. Open, okay? Do you think there's an upset alert here?
No.
I do. I think we should watch this. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but watch this match. 2019, I know Albat has gotten better.
No way.
I think he has a chance. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Don't be like, oh, you said he was going to win and got smoked. No. He may get smoked, but I do think this is one of the better matchups so far in the tournament. Don't count Albat out. He will fight. He will battle, and he'll give it his best. That I know. He won't retire at 4-0 in the third like Gasquet did. That's all I'm saying. Albat will fight. He's Moldovan. He can go. Okay? The last thing I have, and then we're going to all comments. So if you have questions, comments, whether it's personal, whether it's tennis, start them now. This is my last segment. Okay? Andy Murray loses to Taro Daniel in straight sets. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, he needs to retire because I didn't expect him to go down. So that means he used a lot of energy against Bashvili. Didn't have enough energy. Probably was flat against Taro Daniel. If you cannot recuperate into a second round, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you gotta let it go.
That to me is not a good sign for Murray. He needs to enjoy life. He's tried and tried and tried. Every time he plays a 5-set, he's done on the next round. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
It's sad. I mean, there's quite a few players that I noticed that should be done. Dimitrov is another one that lost to Benoit Paire out of all people.
You know, I didn't write that in. Benoit Paire during this pandemic has been another one of those guys that's just tired of it, right?
Yeah.
And he voiced his animosity towards it long ago, like almost immediately. He made it a point to say, I don't give a bleep about all that. I'm just going to play tennis. And he would go to tournaments and literally throw the match, like cough it up, just whack balls into the net, and wouldn't even care. I think Benoit Paire gets an F- on sportsmanship for that stuff. I'm never a proponent of shit sportsmanship. If you act like a shithead, you're a shithead. I get it.
His Kyrgios part 2, talented, yes.
There
he's
you go.
talented. Michael Walker
Exactly.
part 2.
Mike Walker, do you think though, and I agree with you, do you think that Nick Kyrgios puts more or less energy in off-court things, gym, studying the game, reading
He
tactics?
puts more energy into girls and drinking and just being cool.
Kyrgios.
Yeah, Kyrgios.
But yes, Benoit Pierre is actually a student of the game, but with shit sportsmanship.
Yeah, he can play when he wants to
When he
play.
wants to
Another
play.
talented Frenchman. All these Frenchmen, they're so talented, but yet no one can win a slam. It's kind of sad, whereas the British struggle. I mean,
Yeah.
Andy Murray is Scottish, really, but I guess British. I mean, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that these Frenchmen, they have all these great players with so much talent, naturally athletic. You know, it's amazing what they can do, but they can't quite seem to get it up here.
Yeah,
Mentally.
it's just one of
It's
those
like
things.
they're lost mentally.
Yeah.
I don't know why is that.
Yes.
Have you noticed that even in the 90s, the French, like Clement, Grosjean.
She remembers.
I mean, I remember.
Clement.
I loved him. I thought he was cute, and I remember watching him. But I always just say these guys have so much talent, but yet they don't have it up here.
Who are some other Frenchmen that?
Isn't Santoro another
Fabrice
Frenchman?
Santoro.
Yeah.
Now, what was spectacular about Fabrice Santoro? He was a little guy. He had two hands on both sides of the game. So he had a two-handed forehand, two-handed backhand. You mentioned Arnaud Clemente. Who are some other
Grosjean.
French? What about Henry Lacoste? What about
Well,
Lacoste?
didn't those guys win? I mean, Yannick Noah won
Yannick
one.
Noah
so
won the
we
French
can't-
Open. Let's
we
go.
can't count them, but I'm talking about the ones that came after that.
She just brought up Yannick Noah.
Yeah,
Yannick,
Richard Gasquet, another one who talented but didn't do shit.
yeah, Yannick Noah was the last man to win a major with a wooden racket. Yannick Noah, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike Walker will probably know this. I don't. I may be lying here, but I think Yannick Noah was the last man to win a major with a wooden racket, and I think
Yes,
that
he was.
I think that major
Was the French Open.
Yes, but I think he played someone with either a graphite or a T2000 type racket. So I think, in other words, what I'm saying is Yannick Noah, I feel that won the French Open the last time with a wooden racket, and he beat someone with either a rudimentary early non-wooden racket like a T2000. We know Jimmy Connor's racket and so forth. Very difficult, heavy racket to play with. We have a couple of them. T2000, I don't even know how that gained traction. That sucker's hard. And I have a whole wall full of wooden rackets in here everywhere. I got like 10 wooden rackets.
He beat Wilander.
Mats Wilander. And what was Mats Wilander playing with then? Like a Prince Pro? What was he playing with then? A T2000?
Yeah. I don't know. Michael Walker could tell us.
Yeah, Michael Walker's a beast.
Jose P says Sanga was close. Yeah.
Yes,
Another one
yes.
that mentally could not quite get it.
You know, Jose P, yes, one of the most memorable matches, and obviously this isn't written, one of the most memorable matches I've ever seen. And this was a sad match because Federer lost it in 5. But what year was it?
Rossi.
What year was it where, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe Wilfred Tsonga, who I love as a player, by the way, reminds me of Muhammad Ali, and I love Muhammad Ali, a big boxing fan, but what was I going to say? Damn, where was my head at?
What year did he make it in the Australian Open? Blah, blah, blah. Who he played
Damn, I
against?
had a good thought.
He played against Federer?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's like my yin and yang. She keeps me going. I forgot it. Oh, Joe Wilfred Tsonga was down 2-0 to Roger Federer. And Joe Wilfred Tsonga came back and won 3 straight sets. And this was like a Wimbledon 4th round or a quarterfinal or something. Do you remember that? What year
Gene
was that?
Shore said 2011 Wimbledon, Sanga beat Federer. From
Let's go. I remember where I was. I was a service manager for Subaru at this point. So I was in my office and I was doing my thing, customers everywhere. Had a couple people in my office. We were talking about this and that, but little did they know I was actually following the match on the computer. And I'm like, and they're like, are you okay? Did I say something wrong? I'm like, no, you're good.
2012.
And I was watching Federer systematically lose. Okay. Any comments? Otherwise, my stuff is done. Or our stuff is done.
Michael Walker says, look at Nick's legs. Tells you how much he works out. Justin's legs are skinny, but ripped. Nick isn't ripped.
Yeah, my legs are skinny.
Passion of Nadal. I saw some comments there. Technically, Nadal should win that. I say it goes to 4 sets.
Yeah.
Not really an interesting match for me, but
Yeah, and Mike Walker, thank you very much for being the person that you are. You haven't been here in person, and I hope that you do that, but a lot of respect for you, Mike. You're a really good guy.
I'm sorry.
You got a what?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. You're a really good guy, and thank you so much for everything. You're definitely 5K family, no doubt, and a part of our life, not social media driven. And by the way, if you guys ever want to shoot out a text or get into that type of more personal standpoint, as a lot of you are. B-Doggo too, especially. My brother for sure. Mike Walker, my brother for sure. Carla's telephone number is area code 251-404-0011. Mine is 251-753-0950. Guys, tennis is an international language in gals, and we treat it that way. If you're a player, you're watching this, then you have a good head on your shoulders. You know, that's the beauty of tennis. So whenever, please just look us up. We have Facebook. I know I post a lot of stuff there, but I rarely engage in a lot of conversation there, but I do post stuff there a lot. But our Facebook page is 5K space tennis as a business. As well, Mirror Lake Racket Club, racket spelled R-A-C-Q-U-E-T, that's fine as well. And then our personal page, non-business related, where sometimes I just let stuff go and don't really care, is Justin, Justin, space Carla, C-A-R-L-A, space Davis. So Justin Carla Davis, or it might be Carla Justin Davis. Anyway, she's got to pee like the wind. Let's go. See you later. And by the way, an ending. I'm going to take the phone and I'm going to walk through our courts, and we're going to see if the courts are dry. So if you want to see what the facility looks like, you are about to see it. Gabby has to crawl out the window, which I thought she already did, and unlock the door. Go ahead. So I'm going to grab the phone and then I'll walk you around the club. All right, you ready? All right, so stringing area. I think we've seen this before. Thank you, Gabby. So we're going out of the pro shop door. And we're going to see if the courts are playable yet, because it's been raining all day. All right? Always love doing this. All right. So, court 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's not really many puddles, so we can do the lines and get it playable. Looking pretty good. And this direction is our wall. So this is where we go and practice ground strokes if we don't have someone else to hit with. And this wall is a really good player. He's like a men's open 5-5 champion. This guy is a beast. Meet Mr. Wall. A lot of peace and harmony with nature out here, so you feel one with the game, and you can really get to know yourself really well right here. So courts 7 and 8 look pretty good. So those of you that are club members or guests, 7 and 8 right now are playable. I'll get the lines done shortly and groom it up. So we're ready to go on 7 and 8. Excited about that. So we'll come through the woods here. And I'm trying to read messages at the same time. Yeah, hi, Mr. Wall. I agree with you. Bozadar, yes, the wall is a beast. All right, so let's go to the next one. So we got the garage here. I got it locked up. Can't show you what's in my garage. I got the Lamborghini stretch limo in there. Not really, but that's my garage. Okay, the wood section. Okay, the court spreader. So there's Carla out there already getting set to do the courts as well. We're playing. I'm fixing to play. I'm finna whip her ass, by the way. I'm fixing to dominate this girl. Okay, she blew out my knee a year and a half ago. That's all right. I'm gonna blow her out today, 2-2 or something. All right, so here we go. So this is court 6, which we coach on. It's close to the garage. The wind is kicking, by the way. Court 5, little puddle here. Okay, let's go. Court 4, court 3, and I think that court 1 on the end, I look and see it looks pretty good. D&M, what's up, Adam Friel? I love my D&M signs, appreciate that, Adam. And I'm gonna dry the courts off with that big boy. So this is a pretty cool piece of equipment, by the way. So you know you have squeegees for regular courts, hard courts. We have squeegees for clay courts, just a much different apparatus. Trash looks good. All right, so this building here, by the way, will eventually be our pro shop. I know we have it in that building now, which we just walked out of. But that building, we hope to eventually have a more recreational type room for kids to come. Someone overheats during a tournament, they can go in there and chill out. Ice machines over here. Hope to have a ping pong table in there as well. What's up, Watt Key and Mike Sellers? Those are two of my really good friends here that really put a lot into the club as well. But that's where I want to put the pro shop, so I can keep an eye on the courts and still string rackets and sell merchandise. That is the pool up there. So really love the pool, and hopefully we can get that worked out where we can involve tennis and swimming together. Up the stairs we go. Boom, courts 1 and 2. So these courts are the most popular. Most of the players love to play on these courts. Can't beat the setting. It's beautiful. Ivy around both sides. Actually, that's jasmine, so it blooms, I think, white. I haven't seen that in like 20 years, so we'll find out soon. There's Carla doing her thing down there. There's Gabriella, our Sabatini Jr. And lastly, we're going to shoot up here to the kids' playground. And this is where my kids spend a lot of time when I'm not yelling at them on the court. They tend to dodge me in the playground. So there's the playground, and there's the pool. Olympic-sized pool. The St. Paul's school here, which is a fine school. Always has been, always will be. They practice here. So hopefully they allow us to work with them and the summer for swim and tennis camps. I haven't used this grill yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. But I think I might just get my own, because if I'm out there teaching, I don't want to walk this far to check on my chicken. I would rather check on it down there. All right? Anyway, much love to all of you guys. Take care. Hopefully we can get these courts playable. Uno momento, por favor. Uno momento, por favor. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. Let's play. Kick this girl's butt. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you more than likely tomorrow. I think so. Let's go. Come on. Be kind, because everybody you meet is fighting a tough battle, and don't take shit from anyone. Do what you got to do and handle your business. Let's go. See ya.